Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Marcellus, and of course you all know Einstein. I'm so glad you stopped by today, Einstein, because now you can help me teach the students about finding the least common multiple. Today's learning objective, students will find the least common multiple of two or more numbers by making a list or using factor ladders. The first thing we need to know is, what is the least common multiple? The least common multiple is the smallest multiple two or more numbers share. And just to refresh your memory, multiples are 1 times the number, 2 times the numbers, 3 times the number, and so on. For example, the multiples of 4 would be 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 4 is 20, and so on. There are 3 different ways that we use to find the least common multiple. They are make a list, factor trees, and factor ladders. What's that, Einstein? You think that looks pretty familiar, huh? You kind of remember seeing this someplace before? You know what? I think you're right. That's a fantastic observation. These are the same 3 ways that we found the greatest common factor. And as with greatest common factor, we're going to use the make a list method and factor ladders, but we won't be working with factor trees. Let's try our first problem. Let's find the least common multiple of 2 and 12. One way to find the least common multiple is to make a list. You can list the multiples of 2 and list the multiples of 12. Then you find the first common multiple. In this case, the first common multiple would be 12. The LCM equals 12. We can also use a factor ladder just like we did with finding GCF. We set everything up the same way, so we put both of the numbers inside the bracket, and then we look for a common divisor. Both 2 and 12 can be divided by 2, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then I look at 1 and 6. The only common factor they have is 1, so I know that I'm finished. When finding the GCF, we would take just the number on the side, but when finding the least common multiple, we multiply the number on the side times the numbers on top. 2 times 1 times 6 equals 12. So we can use factor ladders to find the least common multiple. Find the least common multiple of 3 and 10. We can use the make a list method and list out multiples of 3, but you can see we need quite a long list here to solve this one, because when we list out the multiples of 10, we find that the least common multiple for both of these is 30. So sometimes a least common multiple can be quite a bit of work. We can also use the factor ladder. Let's put both 3 and 10 inside the ladder. The only factor common to both 3 and 10 is 1. I can't do any division at all, so the way I would calculate the least common multiple is to simply multiply the two numbers together. 3 times 10 equals 30. Whenever you are finding the least common multiple of two numbers that are relatively prime, or only have a common factor of 1, the way you calculate the least common multiple will be to multiply those two numbers together. In this example, let's find the least common multiple of 8 and 12. Using the make a list method, we can pretty quickly find that the LCM is 24. That is the smallest multiple that both 8 and 12 share. Let's also do the factor ladder. We put 8 and 12 inside the bracket, and then we look for a number they can both be divided by. I'll choose 2, and I end up with 4 and 6 after I do the division. Those can also both be divided by 2, so I'll choose 2 again, and I end up with 2 and 3. 2 and 3 only share a common factor of 1, so I know I'm finished. In order to find the LCM, I will need to multiply the numbers up the side and across the top together. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 3 equals 24. The LCM is 24. Let's next take a look at a couple applications of least common multiples. We can use them to solve word problems. Franklin has a very busy schedule. Once every 4 weeks, he has lacrosse practice on Tuesday. Once every 6 weeks, he has robotics club on Tuesday. If he has both lacrosse practice and robotics club this week, how many weeks will it be until he has both on Tuesday again? To solve the problem, we can find the least common multiple. We can use the make a list method and list out the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 6. We find that in 12 weeks, Franklin will have both lacrosse practice and robotics club. We also could use the ladder method. We'll put 4 and 6 inside the bracket. Both of those can be divided by 2, which leaves us with a 2 and a 3 on top. I can't divide any further, so I'll need to multiply to find out that it will be 12 weeks. 2 times 2 times 3 equals 12. At the grand opening of Julio's Pizza, every 6th customer gets a free soda and every 14th customer gets a free slice of pizza. Which lucky customer will be the first to get both a free soda and a free slice of pizza? This also is an application of finding the least common multiple. For this problem, I'm not going to show the make a list method, but I will be doing the factor ladder. The first step, of course, is to put our 6 and 14 inside the division bracket. Then we look for a common factor of both 6 and 14. Both of them can be divided by 2, so I will do the division and end up with 3 and 7 on top. Since the only common factor that 3 and 7 have is 1, I know that I'm done dividing. The next step is to multiply the numbers on the outside of the bracket, up the side and across the top. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 7 is 42, so it is the 42nd customer who will get both a free soda and a free slice of pizza. Woohoo! Hey Einswine, thanks for stopping by today. I'm really happy you could be here to help teach the students about finding least common multiple. It really wasn't too bad since we got to apply things that we'd already learned. As you know, Baratosthenes and I are getting ready to head to Bermuda, so I probably better go get my bags packed. We'll be back in a couple weeks though, so maybe you can stop by and help out with our unit on fractions. Sound good? Alright then, well bye for now.